love each other. But what I want to talk to you about tonight is leading each other. And you hear people say that all the time, be a leader. And sometimes I remember when I was in your shoes especially, I didn't know what that meant. Like I can remember my high school basketball coach yelling that at us, be a leader, be a leader, be a leader. And I thought what that meant was never miss a shot. Always be on time to practice. Okay, maybe that does mean that. Always make the right choices every single time. And I crumbled under the pressure of trying to do that because that's not possible, right? I mean, everybody knows that. So when you think about what it takes to be a leader, I just wanted to share my heart with you guys about leadership, because being a leader is not always being the solution. And I think that's a really important thing for us to remember, especially as girls, because we're often faced, and these mamas here would agree, you're often the problem solver for people. They come to you with their problems. Someday you're going to have kiddos, and they're going to come to you from the get-go and expect you to solve all their problems. And y'all do it now for each other. You know, I forgot my something. Do you have an extra ponytail holder, extra whatever it is? You know what I'm saying? You're doing that for each other, taking care of problems. But that's not necessarily the definition of leadership. If you're the leader, you're not necessarily the one with the solution, but you're the one willing to work on the solution. You're the one willing to take a risk. You're the one willing to make a mistake. Because that's what leadership is. Leadership is the person who's willing to step out first and take action to solve a problem. And that feels scary. That feels very scary. But let's think about your coach. Does she make every decision right every time? No. Do you even expect her to? Do you even expect her to?
No.
No. She's a girl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. You don't. Okay, what about your parents? They lead you. Do they make every decision right every time? Do you even expect them to? No. Leadership is not about making every decision right every time. And we have to get that in our minds, because otherwise we're frozen on the sidelines thinking, I don't have the answer. I might not do it right. I might make a mistake. And so what we do is we hold back, or we even step back and we think, I'm not the leader for this situation. And then we know for sure we're not part of the solution, right? But it feels safe there on the sidelines, doesn't it? It does not feel safe to step out and say, okay, I'm going to try to be part of the solution here, even though I might make a mistake. But leaders make mistakes all the time. That's part of leadership. And you guys need to remember that as a basketball team, because you're coupled together. When someone makes a mistake, come alongside them, help them bounce back from it and move forward. That's leadership too, okay? Another thing that God put on my heart about leadership is just, it is being willing to take a risk. It is being willing to be the one who makes a mistake. But it's also the one who's willing to see the problem. And that takes a lot of courage too. Because a lot of times it would just be a whole lot easier to turn the other way and pretend that problem's not there. Maybe it's like on the way driving over here, somebody had let 3 bags of trash blow out of the back of their truck. And so all over the highway is this huge trash mess. I'm like, oh my gosh. If it's going to be windy, then maybe it'll just blow to clod. That would be great. But otherwise, somebody's got to stop and be willing to look and see that that's a problem. I blew by because I had to come see you girls. But you see what I'm saying? Sometimes it's easier to just not see the problem. So sometimes being a leader on the basketball team is not just about being that person that can make the shot. It's about being the person who's paying attention to everything that's happening on the floor and off the floor. How much time do you guys spend as a team actually playing a basketball game? What percentage do you think? You play like what, 28 games a season? And they're what? 30 minutes each? How long are they? Okay, so you're gonna spend 40 hours playing basketball games. You spend how many hours a week in practice? A ton. How many hours in just school together? All day, every day, basically, right? So what's happening for your leadership opportunities for you to observe problems is not just on the floor during a basketball game. It's happening on your team every time y'all spend time together. Whether it's at practice, whether it's in the locker room, whether it's at school, in the classroom, whether it's when you're hanging out here together, you guys have got to be paying attention. Don't get distracted. Pay attention to each other. Have your eyes open so that you can see a problem. And then a leader, as soon as she sees a problem, a leader starts stepping forward and starts thinking, how can I solve this problem? How can I be part of the solution? And that's what's going to empower you girls to be different from any other team. When you were a tiny, let's say kindergartner, first grader, did you think you were an artist? Yeah. Everybody thinks they're an artist when they're a kindergartner, right? Were you? Yeah. You could draw anything you wanted to draw. You never believed, I can't draw a purple horse, right? It was perfectly fine for your horse to be purple. No problem with that. So somewhere along that continuum of growing up, you probably outgrew the idea that it was okay to draw purple horses, right? And you convinced yourself, well, if I don't draw horses that look exactly like photographs of horses, then I'm not really an artist. Somewhere along that same growing up process, we convinced ourselves that a team can only have one or two leaders. I disagree with that. We would never accept the statement that a team can only have one or two blonde-headed players, or one or two brown-eyed players, or one or two girls who are 5'3" or shorter. We would never accept that, would we? That would just feel wrong to us. Why would we accept the idea that a team can only have one or two leaders? Because leaders come in different shapes and sizes. Only one of you is going to score the most points this season. That's leadership. You will be the leader in that column, right? And that's a very important role to the team because you can't win basketball games if you can't outscore your opponents. However, there are other types of leaders. There are quiet leaders. There are leaders that sit on the bench and watch for solutions and problems that are happening from the bench. There are leaders in the locker room who make sure everybody has things gathered up and nobody's left anything behind and everybody has their game face on and they're not distracted by the fact that their boyfriend just sent them an ugly text. There are all kinds of leaders. And this team has a leadership role for every single one of you. You just have to find it. And then you have to be willing to step up, take a risk, be willing to make a mistake every once in a while as a leader, and lead. And that's what's so important, girls. And I ran into Chrissy at Blue Sky this weekend. I've never met any of you guys before. And it just was kind of a God thing that, I guess it was Derek actually that said, hey, would you like to come talk to the girls? And I knew instantly, I just felt this little squeeze in my heart. I was like, yes, I would love to come talk to the girls. And I knew instantly that the topic would be leadership. Because in this room, there is a ripe crop of leaders. And while we're talking about doing it this year, right now, in this moment on the basketball court, that's not where your leadership ends. That's really where your leadership begins. Because you girls are going to go on and have lots of leadership opportunities. And it's not like a birthday party or a wedding where you wait to be invited. It would be rude to go to somebody's wedding without an invitation, right? That's not leadership. Leaders don't wait to be invited to lead. Leaders